What is up, everybody? Bob here from Prospect Analytics. We got our MLB All-Star Futures Game rosters as of yesterday, a couple additions today. So I wanted to run through those because this is one of my favorite times of the year. Obviously, as a prospect junkie, I love the Futures Game. Now, that game is set for July 12th, so it's 10 days from today. And what I think a lot of people don't realize about this Futures Game is that it gives us a very unique opportunity to buy Bowman cards. Now, it's funny, when Baseball America released their top 100 prospects, I was listening to their podcast and they mentioned, a big part of what they do is trying to move guys up quickly. So when they see some of those breakout names, they want to be, the first publication to let people know those names. And they mentioned Eric Hartman of the Braves as one. And it was so funny, it never occurred to me until I listened to their podcast that I just assumed, because most of the people that I talk to about Bowman follow this stuff on a daily basis religiously, it never really occurred to me that there are tons of baseball fans and even probably Braves fans who don't know who Eric Hartman is. So while we as Bowman people think that, everybody's on to Eric Hartman, everyone knows him, the truth is that really nobody knows him, comparatively to the amount of people who watch baseball. So then what happens when this Futures Game rolls around? This game is nationally televised. Tons of baseball fans who aren't into prospects, who have never seen these guys swing a bat or throw a baseball, will tune into this game. What this does is it creates a national stage for some of these prospects, and it's not uncommon for some of these guys to have great games and then see their Bowman autograph price surge because your average fan who's watching it on TV says, wow, I'd never even heard of this guy. Who is this guy? They go out and buy, they might be baseball card collectors, but they're not prospectors. They see something that interests them in the Futures Game. There's more people, there's more eyeballs on this game than there are your standard Tuesday through Sunday minor league baseball games. So you always have the chance that one of these players could do something crazy. Josue DePaula hit a 3-run home run last year's game. He was the MVP. His card price went up. So what I've done is I've taken those rosters that were released. I have removed everybody who does not have a Bowman autograph, and then I've kind of presented the rosters ranked from top to bottom in terms of current base autograph price as of this morning. And if you go over to www.prospect-analytics.com, I actually released an article where you can get the full rankings and buy ratings for all of these players. I will tell you not only the prices, which you're going to see here, where I have them ranked, which ones are the best ones to buy and why. So make sure you go over to www.prospect-analytics.com and check that out for more information. But we'll jump right in here to the National League roster. Obviously, on both sides, you're going to see like 5 shortstops on the roster. They're not all going to play shortstop. So I did my best based on where guys have played this year at kind of creating a lineup of sorts and put their base autograph prices so that you can kind of see, if you want to find a sleeper, you want to know how guys are selling right now. Going around the diamond, the thing that stands out to me for this National League roster is look at this catching lineup. I mean, usually catchers are hated in the hobby. You don't see many expensive catchers. This National League roster, Ethan Salas, Rainiel Rodriguez, Alfredo Duno, 3 catchers on this roster with a Bowman base autograph over $80. Some very sneaky names there. Going over to first base, Charlie Condon of the Rockies at $104. He'll likely be backed up by Ryan Clifford of the Mets at $27. Going over to second base, now Roldy Brito of the Rockies is listed on the depth chart as an outfielder, but because there's so many outfielders on this roster, and he also splits time at second base, I've put him at second base here, along with Gavin Keelan of the Giants. They are $28 and $23 respectively. Then you shift over to shortstop, obviously the most fun position. Number 1 overall prospect, Jesus Madej of the Brewers, whose base autograph is averaging $294, followed by Eli Willits, last year's number 1 pick at $181, and then Kason Cunningham, another first-round pick from last year of the Diamondbacks, will be playing in the Futures Game. His base autograph's around $38. And then shifting over by process of elimination, I believe the third baseman should be Luis Pena of the Brewers. He's also playing shortstop this year, but he played a lot of third and second last year when him and Jesus Madej were on the same team. So of these players, he's probably the one that I would expect to see at third base. He has an $84 base autograph. Now going around the outfield of the National League roster, Josue DePaula, who's on absolute fire right now. His base autograph was like $125 a couple weeks ago. He's up to $172 on average as of this morning. Then we have Edward Florentino of the Pirates and Dakota Jordan in center field. Florentino about $87. And if you're someone who just likes to go to the bottom, take a sleeper and hope he pops, Dakota Jordan at $12, the cheapest hitter on either roster for this Futures Game. Then over to right field, a couple of guys who have been on fire this year. I got Mike Sirota of the Dodgers at $91 and Josiah Hartshorn of the Cubs at $83. Great hitting lineup here. Going over to the pitchers on the right side, number 1, our most expensive pitcher in all of non-debuted Bowman prospects, and that's Seth Hernandez of the Pirates at $211. And then a huge gap before we get to Liam Doyle of the Cardinals at $43, Gage Wood of the Phillies at $42, Cam Caminiti of the Braves at $34, Miguel Sime Jr. of the Nationals at $31, Mason McGuire, yes, that is Mark's son, of the Chicago Cubs at $20, Cash Mayfield, very great name there, of the San Diego Padres at $16, and then rounding it out with Wen Hui Pan of the Philadelphia Phillies, whose base autograph is about $6. Now, just to give you an idea of what you get over at the site, as you'll see, I'll give you Jesus Medei as an example here. He is the most expensive hitter on the National League roster. He is my number one ranked hobby prospect. The target price that I have for Jesus Medei's base autograph is $300. So at $294, pretty much right on the nose. That makes him a buy rating, a 3 out of 5, which is a hold, meaning that the price that I expect for his autograph and the actual price of that autograph, pretty much the exact same. But for all of the rankings, target prices, and buy ratings on the rest of these prospects, you can again go over to www.prospect-analytics.com and unlock all of those. Some interesting names here, no doubt. The National League roster is dominated by hitters, a lot of hitters in the top. Obviously, we have Seth Hernandez at 211, but outside of him, there's not a single pitcher on that left column there, just a bunch of hitters that are in the over $80 range, and then it drops off pretty drastically down to $43 for Liam Doyle, but a ton of big name Bowman hitters on this National League roster. And then, of course, as I said, if you'd like to go over some of those sleepers, find those cheaper, less well-known names who you think could impress in the futures game and really see their stock pop. You look at that right side, there's a lot of good names here under $30 on this National League roster. But again, go over to the site, get those rankings, get those target prices and those buy ratings. I'll let you know which ones I would buy in the days leading up to that futures game, because I believe that they have the best chance of increasing their prices throughout the rest of the season. But now we will take a look at the American League roster. Now behind the plate, that National League roster had 3 $80+ base autographs. Less exciting on the American League side. Nathan Flewelling of the Rays, who I love, $35. Blake Mitchell of the Royals at $26, and Thyron Lorenzo of the Tigers at $11. Going over to first base, one of my favorite prospects, Ralphie Velasquez at $94 will be manning first base. And then at second base, by process of elimination, Kalen Culpepper of the Twins at $49. The American League team, also about 6 shortstops. Wasn't sure where to put any of them. Of the players who have played second base, Kalen Culpepper has played the most games there. So by default, I slid him over. We don't really know, again, what that configuration will look like. Going over to shortstop, this is a hobby trinity right here. Leo DeVries, $212. George Lombard Jr. of the Yankees, $145. And Franklin Arias of the Boston Red Sox at $134. It's just some huge names there for Bowman. Shifting over to third base, again, JoJo Parker, probably going to play short. He could play second. We don't really know. He's played a little bit of third this year. So I'll go JoJo Parker at third at $82, and then Caleb Bonnemer, another prospect that I really like, at $69. Moving to the outfield, Kevin Alvarez of the Astros, one of the youngest players in this game, at $34. In center field, Theo Gillen, recently named to the MLB Pipeline's top 10, $85. And he will also be joined by Nelson Rada of the Angels at $21. Then moving into right field, Ike Irish at $35. Now, I made this graphic, and then while I was recording, Xavier Nyans of the Astros and Walker Jenkins of the Twins were both added to this roster, so they're not on this graphic, but those are 2 more exciting names that we will be looking for on this American League team. Now, while the strength of the National League roster was those hitters, the strength of this American League team is no doubt the pitching. This pitching rotation is unreal. If you remember on the National League side, we had Seth Hernandez at 200, and then nobody else was over 45. This American League team just loaded with expensive pitchers, including 3 of my personal top 4 pitching prospects. Now, number 1 at the top, Cade Anderson of the Mariners, $174 on the base autograph. Carlos Lagrange of the Yankees at $83. Ryan Sloan of the Mariners at $72. Anthony Ianson of the Red Sox, $64. Kendry Churio, 18-year-old, just lighting the world on fire this year, of the Kansas City Royals, $42. Joseph Jurwa of the Orioles at $39. Caden Scarborough of the Rangers, also $39. Tyler Bremner, last year's number 2 overall pick of the Los Angeles Angels, $35, and Jamie Arnold of the A's at $30. Now, on the National League side, we got down into those $20, $15, $5 autographs. Not a pitcher on the American League roster with a Bowman autograph under $30. This is a stacked pitching rotation. I don't know how the National League's even going to get any hits. This is a fun roster to look at. Let's look at them ranked by their base autograph price. Again, I'll give you the teaser there. We saw Jesus Madej at number 1 with a $300 target. My number 2 overall prospect is on the other team here, Leo DeVries of the A's. His base autograph is $212. I have him projected at $250. So again, if you're paying taxes and fees, maybe that $30 discrepancy, not worth it. That's why he comes out at a 3.4 out of 5, which is also a hold, just like Jesus Madej was. A little bit more value in the price since he's close to $100 cheaper than Madej, but he is still not quite into that buy range. Now we saw with the National League after Seth Hernandez, not a lot of pitchers. Different on this side, we have Carlos Granje, Ryan Sloan, Anthony Ianson, all on that left side as some of the most expensive players on this roster. It's very interesting. The American League, when you look at it, you think would be loaded. The National League side actually has more players with a base autograph over $80. I think it'll be a great matchup. But again, if you go over to the site, you'll get all of these ranks, targets, buy ratings. I can tell you that there are at least 3 or 4 players on the right side of this graphic at under $40 that I have ranked as a buy 4 or higher. So again, make sure you go over to the site, check out who you should buy. But most importantly, make sure that on July 12th, you tune in to the MLB All-Star Futures Game. It's going to be a lot of fun. Great chance to see all of these elite prospects play against each other. And again, as a big fan of prospects, it's one of my favorite days of the year, and I'm very looking forward to it. And again, just as a reminder, if you go over to www.prospect-analytics.com, I bring you everything I can throughout the season to help you get an advantage in the Bowman game. I have the autograph prices for every hitter and pitcher in Bowman with buy ratings. I rate them 2 through 5 on how good their value is, if they're worth buying, holding, selling, all that good stuff. My prospect rankings update every week. We have daily stats and leaderboard only for Bowman prospects, our weekly hot sheets. I do a deep dive into every new Bowman product, ranking the players on how you should chase them. There's just a ton of tools that you can use that can help you with your prospecting and your Bowman buying. So again, make sure you go over to www.prospect-analytics.com. Become a premium subscriber. Hop in the Discord that's on the main page. Come talk prospects with us. It is a great time. Thank you again for watching, and we will see you next time.